everybody, and welcome to episode 45 of All About African Violets. All About African Violets is musically sponsored by Ted Yoder. You can hear and purchase his awesome music on his website at tedyoder.com. It's also available from iTunes. Hi everybody, come on into my sunroom. Well, you can see it's not sunny. It's actually Tuesday evening. I am recording very early in the week because when you see this on Sunday, I will be on my way back from the Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival. Now, this is one of my other hobbies. I think many of you know that I'm a fiber artist, a knitter, a spinner, a weaver. I'm interested. I've rarely met a fiber art that I don't like. And the Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival is one of, if not the largest festival of its kind in the country. And I'm so excited to be going. I have never gone before, so I think it's gonna be a great weekend. But it means that I won't be here when I normally am to record and to get the podcast ready for you guys. So I'm getting it set up a little bit early. So let's go right into tips and treasures because our tips and treasures this week, it's part 2 of question day, and I've got 2 more questions for you that I answered when I filmed all in a row last week. The first one is about apicias on one of the other gesneriads, and the second one is about repotting. So take a look. I got a question from Gloria. She said, I've been trying to limit my collection. Yay, Gloria. She said, I'm trying to do that by not growing any of the other gesneriads. Then I was given a cute little Apicia suomi plant by a fellow violet grower. I have no gesneriad plants nor any books that cover them in any detail. Do I just treat them like my violets? There are 2 little plants in the pot. Can you have more than one Apicia in a pot and still be able to show them? Do I need to grow it under a dome? Well, these are all good questions. I know that Karina left you some info because I think she grows apicias and gave you a link to some tutorials, as well. I grow a few of the other gesneriads, as you know, but I don't grow a lot of them because some of them do require different care. But the ones that I grow are pretty much the same care as for your violets. I have grown apicias in the past. You guys might have noticed that you haven't seen my Apicia pink acajou on the stands. That's because after I went to the Illinois State Show and saw all those beautiful apicias and realized that mine was not growing well and not happy at all here, I let it go to its great reward. But I was gifted a little apicia. You haven't seen it yet. It's still kind of hiding in isolation. I don't know if I can grow it or not. My home is relatively cool in the winter, and the one thing that apicias really like is they like it hot. So I had put pink acajou under a dome because being under a dome will raise the temperature for the growing environment of a plant so that it could be in the same location as the violets, but it's going to be warmer in its little dome. The other thing is that I have this is a very old book. I was out on eBay this week, you guys. I do this every once in a while. I go out and troll eBay looking for books and things. And some older books are still, you can find a copy, a used copy somewhere. And this book is one that I was told many years ago, The Miracle House Plants, the Gesneriad Family by Virginie and George Albert. And this is the 1976 edition. It's very old. There is a newer one, but I was told that this older edition had the best info in it. And it's actually, I think I might have mentioned this to you guys before, this book, because this book was gifted to me by the late Joan Halford, who was from she lived in South Africa. But this book was originally Barbara Elkin's, and it says, inside it's got Barbara Elkin and then Joan's stamp, and then Joan gave it to me. So this book has made the rounds of, and I'm very honored to have it because both Barbara is an amazing grower and a hybridizer, and she's the woman I mentioned to you before that she deals with all the vintage violets for AVSA, for the African Violet Society of America. And Joan Halford was a wonderful grower and an author. This is Joan's book, Growing African Violets in South Africa. This is a great book if you can find it on eBay, if you can find a copy, because it's not just about growing violets in Southern Africa. She has great information. But this book, The Miracle Houseplants, is one that I keep in my collection. And also, while I was out there, the Gesneriad Society puts out a great little booklet called How to Know and Grow Gesneriads. So it's got photos and it's got info in it, and you can, it doesn't really go tremendously in depth, but it's a great little reference, I think, that you might want to have. And again, just try different conditions, see how it goes. There's no one perfect way. So I hope that is helpful, Gloria. And then the other thing that Joyce wanted to add, I love this because it's like Joyce is here with us. She says, you might want to mention that apicias send out runners, which are a lot like suckers on a rope. If the grower wants the apicia to be grown like a trailer, then the runners can be left and it'll just grow that way. But you can have more for the other Gesneriads. You are allowed to have more than one in a pot, and go to show with them that way at an AVSA show. She says, if you want a single crowned plant with larger leaves, then take the runners off. So again, I think, pretty much the dome I used certain apicias, the really pale pink ones like Cleopatra. Those are nearly always grown in an enclosed container. Even in Southern California, people grew those in an enclosed container just to have more control over the environment, keep it warm, keep it moist. I think that was really what they liked. I've tried to grow Cleopatra numerous times without success. Well, without great success. I've had some success with it, but it's just not great. Well, then Irene asked a number of questions this week, and this one is, she says, I loved meeting Dale Martins. You guys, before I go on, I'm going to answer all the questions, and I will see how long the tape is. So I may stop at some point, and this may cut off at a point, and then I will pick it up with the rest of it next week. But I just decided as I was talking that I'm just going to keep talking and get it all out now, and then I'll split it up as needed going forward. So Irene says, I loved meeting Dale Martins. I thought the leaching she mentioned was interesting. I am assuming when she repots, she doesn't disturb the existing root mass. I have mostly done soil changes on new acquisitions, so I vigorously remove as much soil as possible. On plants where maintenance repotting is done, would I want to leave the old soil in place? Well, sort of yes and no. If you have a neck on a plant, and so you need to pot that neck down into the pot, what you do is, and I will demonstrate, once I have a real neck, I think I've demonstrated it, I may not have demonstrated it physically for you guys yet, but I also have a link to this on my personal blog on a series that I did there with some photos, and I will try to I will link to that in the show notes so that you can see it there in the meantime. But when you take the plant out of the pot, you will take all the perlite off the bottom, and then you'll have your root ball. It's usually about like this. And what you do is, depending on how long the neck is, how far you need to pot it down, usually maybe a neck about this long, then you're going to slice that much off the bottom of the root ball, get a new clean pot, a new wick, fresh perlite, little layer of potting mix, gently set that root ball on that layer enough so that now you can, and then fill in around the neck with new soil and around the existing root ball. So you don't, unless you are going to restart the crown, which is when you would cut the root ball completely off and restart it just like you were starting a leaf, you just put the crown in the mix and put it in under a dome. I usually will try to remove some of the soil on the top where the fertilizer salts have been, kind of get that old like orangey looking stuff off of there, and then fill in with, make sure that the neck, sometimes you have to scrape a little with your thumb so it's not all scabbed over, so that it's got a place for the new roots to form, and then just let it go from there. And what Joyce says is whenever roots are disturbed significantly, they tend to die back. If a violet is just coming into bloom, this can cause all the flowers to be dwarfed. So this is a really good point. And again, something I didn't think of because I just do it automatically. When you repot, you want to disbud, and oftentimes you're going to take a bottom row of leaves off because you are removing some of those roots and then potting that down and potting that neck down. So she says when doing a significant repotting where the roots will be disturbed, it is a good idea to disbud the plant and then enclose it for at least a couple of weeks while the new roots develop. So, and that again is a matter of choice. I usually just kind of let them sit and rest on the stand. I don't put a big standard pot, violet into a bag after I've repotted it. I just kind of let it sit there and relax and do its thing and keep it disbudded so that it's not trying to use energy to make flowers, and it's just trying to get itself accustomed and shoot out some new roots and maybe grow some new leaves. So I hope that's helpful for you. You guys asked really great questions as usual, and we still have another part 3 for next week. So I loved that you asked me so many questions, and I loved that I had the chance to talk with Joyce before. I filmed the questions so that she could weigh in on some of them as well. Like I said, it's kind of like having her right here. I wish she was right here. But I wanted to just show you this book again. It's called The Miracle Houseplants, and this has the most information of any of the books that I've found. This is the 1976 edition, and it's got the sticker still in my hand. It's by Virginie F. and George A. Elbert, and this was recommended to me, a long time ago. And actually, I had found a copy, and then, as I've mentioned to you before, Barbara Elkin gave this to Joan Halford, and Joan Halford gave it to me. So of course, I kept this copy and let my other copy go. But again, you can scout around on eBay and look for old books, used books, and you should be able to eventually find a copy. Don't pay too much. And the other book, of course, and I don't have the Gesneria. Maybe I have it here. Let me see. I have a stack of stuff here on the little table right by where I film all the time. No, I must have put. Oh no, here it is. Yay! This is the little book from the Gesneriad Society. I will link also to the Gesneriad Society's website. That's another organization you never know. If you guys have an interest in more of the other Gesneriads, it's a society you may be interested in joining, as well as joining the AVSA. So this is, you can get this on their website. I think I picked this one up from Amazon, but they have it available there on the website. And the other book that I mentioned briefly, I haven't mentioned it yet, but I will, in the Look at What's on the Stands, is this book written by Joan Hill and Gwen Goodship. This is from the UK. So African Violets, the Complete Guide. And it has, great photos in it and some really beautiful ones. And great information. Like I said before, can you ever have too many books? I don't think so. Well, listen, it's time to take a look at what's on the stands. And although you're seeing this on Sunday, I'm filming it on Tuesday, so it's really only been a couple of days since last week's episode. But there are some, at least one really stupendous bloom. I can't wait for you to see it. I'll be right back. Here we are in the guest room. It's time to take a look at what's on the stands. And I'm a little concerned about a couple of these semis. They look almost to me like they might be trying to split at the crown. At least they seem to be kind of tight at the crown, which is not something I'm used to seeing at this particular juncture. as they grow for show. But we're hanging in. This one looks okay. So does this one. And the trailers, they need some grooming. You can see there's some spots on the leaves and some pale leaves on this one. And I'm going to show you what I can do with that next week, hopefully. This is Pixie Blue. Got a few more little blossoms open, and Rob's Taruka, which is trying to open up now. Let's take a look down here. Everybody down here looking pretty good. This is Smooch Me. This is Jean-Pierre Croteau. This is Fresh Air. This is Pow Wow. Gala Pink. I know you guys like to know what's going on. I mean, which plants are which, and we haven't done that for a while. Fisherman's Paradise. And Spring... Is it Spring Memories? Oh, Reflections of Spring. Forgive me. This plant has definitely slowed its growth since I moved it upstairs, and I'm wondering if it is happier in the basement. This is one of the things you start to learn the more plants you grow, and if you have multiple growing areas in your home or wherever you grow, sometimes you find that different ones do better in different locations. So I'm probably going to take this baby back downstairs and see how it does down there. This is Optimara Hawaii. This is Jersey Rose Trail. This is Buckeye Celebrity Status. This is EK Princessa Grezza, and these leaves are looking a little wonky to me. I'm not sure what's going on there, but I'm not liking how it's looking. I don't think it's anything contagious. Some of it looks to me like it might have just been cold. I'm going to read up on the description of this one a little more and see what it says. This is Hot Tamales. It's another stork plant. This is House of Amani, and let's walk around. Woo! This is Zima Ubeetsia. It's looking pretty good. And this is Santee Sue. So now, if we go back up to the pre-show plants, this is Rob's Antique Rose, Rob's Sarsaparilla, Optimara Little Azurite, Geisha Girl, Max Glacial Grape, Blueberry Sprite, and you already saw Pixie Blue and Rob's Taruka. Let's go down to the basement. Down here in the basement, and guys, it is today is the first really. It's I'm actually filming for you on Tuesday night, so it's actually very close to what you just saw on Sunday last week. But still, there are some differences, as you can see. And I've got a second blossom coming out there on Fisherman's Paradise, and the Sport of Ajon's Winter Sun is opening up. And it is appreciably cooler down here than it was upstairs. This is Ma's Old Fashioned. This is Willowa. This is EK Sky Azure. That's the English translation on that one. This is Starry Night Blue. Fisherman's Paradise. Much smaller down here, notice, but the color much deeper than it would be upstairs. Again, that's because it's cool down here. This is Tony's Jennifer, Frosty Frolic, which I have always struggled to grow, and this one looks like it's going to make it. Pink Pussycat, Moon Rays, Selena Dark Velvet, another plant of moon rays, and who's back there in the corner? Let me reach over. Oh, Armageddon. That is a Russian one. Oops, here we go. Armageddon. And Buckeye Lost Love. Quick look under the dome. Everybody's hanging out there, looking good. Nothing too interesting yet. These were the show plants, hanging out, relaxing down here. Optimara, Michigan. Western Moon. Optimara, Ontario. Roulette. This is Rob's Wagga Wagga. And Traveling Man. Let's go over to the Streptocarpus shelf. Well, here we are on the Streptocarpus shelf. This is Blue Mars. This is going to be a gigantic plant eventually. And hey, I do have something new to show you. This is Midnight Flame, and it is the most stupendous red that I have seen in a long time. It's just a simple red blossom. It is gorgeous, just gorgeous. This is Dale's Polar Berry. Little blossom, getting ready. White gold, Heartland's white gold. And a blossom coming there on Salmon Sunset. You'll see that next week. And here's Dancing Trail. Like I said before, I really think it did not like either this plant does not like my growing conditions, or it really resented having some Marathon put in the mix when I repotted it into my own mix. And here is Chiffon Masquerade. You remember last week I showed you a book from Joan Hill and Gwen Goodship. Joan Hill is the hybridizer of the Chiffon series. Okay, let's go upstairs. Guys, here's a short stop look at Petrocosmia carrii hanging out on the kitchen table. Ooh, I'm out of breath from hoofing it up the steps. Well, here we are in the kitchen. Here are my two plants of champagne pink, actually 4 plants that are in there, 2 in each pot. This is another Armageddon. This is Cherry Cola. This is Forest Orchid. Again, that's the U.S. translation, English translation. This is supposed to be Sassy Sister. I don't see any pink in those blossoms, do you? Oh, once again, I have Irish Flirt. Can't believe it. Sorry guys, I got my arm twisted up. This is Cool Blue. This is Frosty Bubbles. I think it's, yeah, Frosty Bubbles. Interesting plant, isn't that? This is Perfect Harmony. Granger's Peach Frost. That's Grape Glory. Max Scorching Sun. There's the Selena Dark Velvet again, and a Moonray, I think. This is Jersey Snowflakes. These single whites are holding really well. They are stick tight. There is Optimara Little Wichita Girl. This is Ajon's Yellow Submarine. This one has not bloomed yet. This is Potsalia Rusalski. This is Smoky Moon. And who's that over in the corner? Autumn Blues. This is Autumn Blues. All right, you guys are getting a very extended look this week. This is Aladdin's Lamp. Isn't it Aladdin's Lamp? Oh, I'm sorry. This is Firebird. Forgive me, I don't have Aladdin anymore. This is Columnia Firebird. These are its pieces I cut off. You can definitely see the roots forming. And these are the pieces I cut off of Columnia Apollo, which is right here. And one of them is trying to bloom as well. Here is Shadow Magic. Needs to be repotted. Moonlit Velvet. Got 2 beautiful blossoms. I cut the other stalks off. There's the Escananthus obconicus. And there is Texas Hot Chili. Needs some grooming. Let's go take a quick look at the big box violet. It's a little dark over here. You can see how blue it looks outside. The sun is going down on Tuesday evening. And here is the big box violet, just blooming its full head off. It looks wonderful. I really love it. It's just a great little plant. It's actually not very little. It needs a turn. Well, I can't turn it too far. I might need to take one of those big leaves off. All right, that is the look at what's on the stands for this week. I'll be right back. I gotta tell you, that blossom on Midnight Flame, that Streptocarpus, it is even a deeper, more beautiful, rich red than it appears on the video. I mean, it is just stunning. And I got it at Illinois at the state show. I got it from Gary Makita. He really specializes in Streptocarpus and Apicius. And it was in one of his larger pots, like I thought it was a display plant. And I said, Gary, he had a bunch of other reds, but none of them were this red. And I said, Gary, is that one for sale? He's like, sure. I said, oh, good, because that's the one I want. So I brought it home, and it is gorgeous. It is a beautiful blossom. I hope that it blooms a whole lot as it goes. And how about that big box violet? I mean, I always look over at it every time I say that, because it's right here in the sunroom with me. I can't get over how great it looks. And it's large. I mean, it's really almost grown into its pot. And I'm wondering about taking it out of the conservatory stand and putting it on just a single stand by itself, so that the leaves, so that it maybe might even grow a little bigger. I'm going to experiment with it. We'll see how it goes. Well, hey, it's time to get the bail money ready. So I've got some show info for you here. And of course, National is coming up. We're about 5 weeks out now. And in Baltimore, which is actually not far from where I have been this weekend, next weekend, they are having in Baltimore, in Towson, Maryland, the Baltimore African Violet and Gesneria Club on both May 10th and May 11th is having their annual show and sale. And then also on May 10th, May 10th to May 12th, this is overseas, you guys. This is Clubul Roman de Gesneriae, and I know I did not pronounce any of that correctly, so please forgive me. This is the Romanian Gesneria Club, and they are in Bucharest, Romania. From May 10th to May 12th, they are having an African Violet and other Gesneria exhibition. So if you are watching from Romania, I hope that you have a great show, and I hope if you're not a member there that you will go and see the show and have a wonderful time. On May 11th, in Yorba Linda, California, the Tri-Counties African Violet Society is having a display and sale. And May 11th and May 12th, in Davie, Florida, the Violet Patch of South Florida is having an African Violet show and sale. So if you are anywhere near any of those locations, I know I say this every week, but I sure hope you'll go and take advantage of the opportunity to see a show or see a display and a sale, and maybe come home with something new, and maybe learn something, and maybe meet some people, maybe find a club you want to join. It's really a lot of fun. Well, I think this episode is a little shorter than usual, but it is time to keep moving forward. So I'm getting ready to start packing my suitcase and head off for a fiber adventure in Maryland and to visit some friends in Virginia. And I'm really sure that my days are going to be filled with all the things I love in the coming days. But I hope that your days too are filled with all the things you love. Good growing. I'll see you next time.